Hello, and once again, we are live to the Modern Mystery School UK and EU podcast and YouTube channel. And today we are joined by the lovely Sanet. Sanet, how are you?
I am doing so well because I'm so excited to talk about some of the subjects that you've got up your sleeve today.
Oh, I know. This is so fun. I love finding out about people's journeys because, well, you have decided to become a guide in the Modern Mystery School, and this is in a very ancient lineage, and this is such a huge responsibility. It takes a lot of training, a lot of dedication, and so it's no small step. So I would love to know, first of all, cast your mind back. What made you want to come to empower thyself and be initiated into the lineage? What kind of why did you want that?
Mm. Yes, so this was almost 11 years ago that I initially decided to do the life activation. But there was a long run. It's a long story, but I'm not going to tell the long version. I'm just going to quickly tell the in a nutshell version. But basically, I knew that I was a spiritual being from I can't even remember when. And this sort of like boosted me into a direction of searching for spirituality. And I did look for it in the church. I didn't find spirituality there. I found a lot of dogma, and there's some really good teachings and things in the church, but it wasn't spirituality. So I went on a journey of researching philosophy, ancient teachings, different religions, all sorts of things. And in my search for spirituality, I did come across, I read so many books because in those days, Google didn't even exist. So, so I read a lot of books and I ended up, and I know this is no coincidence, because when we are looking for the light will present itself to us. So I discovered a couple of books that were written by old initiates of mystery schools. And so, to make a long story short, I was very convinced that there are no open mystery schools available. It wasn't available to me, and just I just decided, well, if this is the case, then I'm going to just have to keep on reading these books that was written by these old ancient mystics. And in 2012, I think around there, a very good friend of mine called me up and she said to me, Sanet, I think I found an open mystery school. And I was like, no, I was very skeptical. I said, no, it's probably not the real thing. As when the light comes close to us, then, often what happens is we want to push back. So we want to resist it. In any way, so she said, well, my sister did a healing called the life activation, and she did a class called Empower Thyself. And she looks like a different person. And she said to me, her sister was in Cape Town, and she said, why don't you call her up and go for coffee and just see for yourself? So I did that, and I remember the coffee shop that we were going to meet, well, had a day to meet in, to have this coffee, was full of people, and I was walking up and down, and I couldn't find her. And eventually I called her on her cell phone, and her phone rang, and she was sitting right here in front of me. She looked like a different person. So this was a big inspiration for me. So I contacted the healer that she went to, and I eventually, there's a little bit more to the story, but to keep it short, I then eventually went for the life activation. And I thought, well, I'm only going to do Empower Thyself later. And then about 3 weeks after I received the life activation, it really started working. And I could really feel it. I could feel the change. I started feeling completely differently. My senses were heightened. And I then started and I remember I contacted my healer and I said, there's so much change. I'm so sensitive to energy. Do you have anything that I can use to protect my energy and to protect myself? Because I felt at times I felt a little bit scared because a lot was happening. And she said to me, Sanet, you need to do Empower Thyself. And you need to be initiated in this lineage, because I knew that this was working, and I knew it was magical because you couldn't explain it otherwise. And I had tried many things before, and nothing ever did this for me. So 3 weeks later, I was in an Empower Thyself class, and oh my goodness, that initiation, oh, it was amazing. And the tools that I received, just, I still use them. This was in 2014. I still use them every single day. And to me, they feel like small little healings that I do for myself every day. And it's almost like having a hammer and a chisel, chiseling away at that which isn't the true me, so that I can connect and see more of who I actually am. Because this is what it's about for me. It's that knowing who I am, not my personality, not the drama queen, not not all of that, but who am I really as a spiritual eternal being. And that made a massive difference for me in my life. My whole life changed.
That is so tremendous. And it's so funny, isn't it, how we get these resistances. Once we've been searching, then we find it, and then we go, oh no, I'm not going to do that. It's just the funniest thing, isn't it?
Yes, because how long did it take me to get to where I decided to be to become a guide? I mean, it was almost like it was more than 10 years.
So what
10
made
years.
you want to become a guide? So, you've obviously were experiencing all these amazing benefits, and of course on our path, I mean, it's very much an individual path, and not everybody becomes a guide, and not everybody's asked to become a guide, and not everybody becomes a ritual master. It's very much you do, as you want. So then, having all this great experience, what made you decide to go, okay, well, I want to become a guide?
So when I did Empower Thyself, I was a completely different person. And I have amazing friends that are also initiates that often remind me to look back, and they remind me who I used to be. And it took me a long time to discover and to unveil and to clear out who I actually was, because I had such crystallized belief systems of who I was and what I was capable of doing. And there's all sorts of things that we have, like these belief systems specifically around ourselves. And if we don't know, I didn't know myself. So throughout these years of just constantly working on getting to know myself better, I was able to get more peace. I was able to overcome massive anxiety. I used to be the most anxious, paranoid person, fearful. And all of those things took time to clear away and to heal in my life personally. But I eventually went and I did Healers Academy because I felt the life activation was so powerful in my life, and I saw such a change and shift. And I wanted to actually not even do it for other people because I didn't think that I could. I just wanted to do it for my family. I just thought, well, if there's 5 people in my life that I could activate and give that just a glimpse of that hope and that light that I had. So for me, I didn't even think I was a healer. So that also took a while. But once I started doing the healings and especially the life activation and serving other people in that way, it just brought so much confidence. Every person that I would activate would come back and go, oh, this and this and this has happened, and this is so wonderful, it's magical, and the one story after the other. And I've activated quite a few people over the last, feels like 100 years, but and I'm still waiting for that one person to come and tell me it didn't work for them. So yeah, how amazing. So therefore, so through the healings that I started doing for other people, I started seeing as they were doing the life activation and attending their max meditations. They maybe needed some other healing. So I went and I did Healers Academy, the second Healers Academy. And I went and I did Teachers Academy, where I could start learning, where I learned how to teach classes to people. And I started teaching Sacred Geometry 1, and then so many other classes. And I then found that I was sending people to other guides to go and get their initiation and to go and do Empower Thyself. And one of my very amazing teachers had to push me a bit and say, come on, why don't you want to do this? Don't you think that you would want to teach Empower Thyself and initiate somebody else? And yeah, and I mean, there's no reason why not.
I love it. I love it. And it's so true, isn't it? We're so happy and so, pleased with the results that we're telling everybody else to go to Empower Thyself. It would make sense for you to then teach it, because they can come to you then. And it's just such a beautiful experience to initiate somebody that we love, or somebody in our structure. It's just a wonderful service. And yeah, I am so excited for you that you get to do that now. So we are almost out of time, or we're over time, but I'm just going to ask this one question. Who is Empower Thyself for? Is it just for spiritual people, or can anybody come?
Yes. I used to think it was only for spiritual people, but what I've discovered, and this is something that we have in the world, and that is called suffering. And if there's one antidote to suffering, it is Empower Thyself. Because it doesn't matter. Sometimes we think, well, I'm wealthy, I'm privileged, I could go to private schools, I had wonderful education, I had support from my family, but I'm still suffering on some level. Then it's for you. If you're poor and you haven't had privileges and you weren't able to maybe even go to school, it is also for you. And it is absolutely for everyone. If you've ever experienced suffering, or if you are experiencing suffering in your life, in the Empower Thyself class and initiation is going to empower you to overcome that suffering. And also what happens is that we start learning about our own divine being, who we are in the light, and so that we can flow that wonderful light of God, that pure divine light and the perfect will of God into our lives and everyone around us, because that light affects everything that we touch and everyone.
I love it. Thank you so much, and I agree on all of those points. We've come to an end. So, if can you just tell us what area you are in, and if people are local to you, they can contact you.
Yes. So I live in South Africa, sunny South Africa at the moment, and I am based in Cape Town. So if anybody in Cape Town feels that they need more information, or they need a life activation, or just want to come for a beautiful meditation, they can contact me anytime. I'm available 24/7.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And thank you all for tuning in. And we will see you all again soon.
Oh, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Bye-bye, everyone.